Told you earlier, the Nigerian military has reacted to allegations by ex-Niger Delta militant leader Asari Dokubo that some cabal in the military are involved in oil theft in the region, challenging him to come up with evidence and possibly name names. Dokubo made the allegation when he visited President Bola Tinubu in Abuja on Friday. And reacting, the Director Army Public Relations, Brigadier General Onyema Nwachukwu, said the Nigerian Army is winning the battle against oil thieves and will not hesitate to expose black sheep in its formation. Also reacting, the Nigerian Navy spokesman, Commodore Adedotun Ayovoan, challenged Dokubo to reveal the names of officers involved in the crude oil theft. He said the allegation against the military is spurious and unguarded, adding that oil thieves were angry because the land, maritime and air components of the Joint Task Force Operation Delta Safe, as well as other operations in the south zone of the country, have sustained the efforts to deny oil thieves avenues to sabotage the economy. Okay, we're now joined by Arise analyst Frank Tete, who is a lawyer, to speak more on these allegations and counter-allegations. That seems to be what we've been having, over the years since the discovery that Nigeria's crude export or production was shrinking and oil thieves have taken over. Even the Trade Union Congress president has laid this same allegation very recently against the Nigerian military. How culpable are they really?
Well, nothing could be more express when a sitting governor, in the person of Governor Nyesom Wike, directly accused the General Officer commanding 6th Division that he had his own gang, armed gang, for the purpose of bunkering. He said it several times. Award-winning journalist Mahmoud Akuga documented severally but the Madam Black episode of how she expressly mentioned names and the procedures for settling all military formations in the Niger Delta to enable them carry on fire. That is the colloquial name for artisanal refining, which was normal. So crude oil theft has been normal, perpetrated, overseen by the Nigerian military, but that the Nigerian military, members of the Nigerian military sent to the Niger Delta.
These are the people alleged.
Look. Let's not play down on the authority of a sitting governor, Governor Nyesom Wike. We had a president that turned a sort of blind eye to all of those accusations. There were no investigations. The chief of defense staff impeccably, eloquently speaking to the fact that they were going to, at that time, deal with the bad eggs in the military. Nothing happened.
He visited the Niger Delta.
That was dramatic. That was the optics. So Asari Dokubo's statement in the State House
oil production
did not come as news.
But Nigeria's oil production, attested to by the overseer, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, they say it's going up about 1.79 million barrels now.
Why shouldn't we be that candid to ourselves? We had a Tompolo that was recruited by the government. We've seen this kind of outsourcing of state responsibility. The military couldn't protect oil installations in the Niger Delta. Now, and then there were copious reports, security reports, that they were aiding the actual bunkering of oil in Niger Delta, to the extent that the government had to buy peace, outsource the job of the military to general, in quote, Tompolo, to protect the oil installations. What are we talking about?
It's Asari Dokubo, a former militant leader, a man of integrity and impeccable, resume, to so allege.
Is this an allegation from Asari Dokubo? We're talking about a man who led a movement, the Niger Delta Volunteer Force at a time. And he has severally boasted that all of these guys who run the military don't even know where these pipelines pass. They don't know any of these things. That only they, that is Asari Dokubo and his friends, the Boilous and the rest of them, that accepted the amnesty of blessed memory, the president of blessed memory, Yaradua. Well, they claim that only they and Shell actually know these points and that they are just jokers. And then these military...
So then how would the military now be involved in bunkering
okay,
when
so,
they don't know the pipelines?
Okay, see the point here. The point is this. It is the connivance, the supervision of those who actually steal the oil. For example, for those who carry on this illegal petroleum refining, now connive with military officers, and then they go on. These are the claims, verifiable claims by the likes of Tompolo and Asari Dokubo. The president, former President Muhammadu Buhari wouldn't have permitted that kind of arrangement that the NNPC and the other international oil companies, the Ministry of Petroleum, entered with a fellow like Tompolo if they didn't have believed them that they had superior knowledge of how to protect those pipelines. So it was a state compromise. Now, look at it this way. First and foremost, let it start like this. The military couldn't protect those pipelines, couldn't prevent oil theft, and then we had a sitting governor providing copious information to the president that the military was involved. And he even named the GOC. So the military is asking that Asari Dokubo should name names, whereas the governor had named the GOC, had named several other persons. We saw all of these things were
I'm sure there. That GOC must have long been gone now.
Well, nothing happened to him, actually. We don't know how he ended up. I'm even talking about, what about the reports? The Inside the Niger Delta reports by Mahmoud Akuga, severally. What about those? Madam Black was on air. She was giving detailed, reports, detailed evidence of those she was settling on a daily basis. At the time, in Port Harcourt, the understanding was that it was the bunkered oil, that is crude oil, petrol that was refined in the creeks that was actually being sold in the petrol stations. It was that bad.
No, but the Nigerian Army spokesman, General Nwachukwu, and together with Navy Commodore Adedotun Vaughan, the spokesman of the Navy, they've denied the allegations.
Of course.
They are saying that they've been able to frustrate the activities of the economic saboteurs, oil thieves, from land, maritime, and air, disrupting all their functions.
No, I think until we come to terms with the truth, we will and rise above this sort of public the PRO spins that come from these elements, we wouldn't really solve the problem. So I just referred to Tompolo being in charge of protecting those pipelines. It was when
you asked, where is the Nigerian military in this?
Unfortunately, the fact I told you the connection. The connection is in that of connivance. So Wike said the GOC had a gang. So those gangs are made up of persons, not necessarily only military people, but military connivance. How, for example, and I'll address Asari Dokubo on this end. You don't just, if you are being sympathetic to the military, then you can say that oil theft is not carried on by the military alone. Indeed so. But the military connives with a lot of persons who are directly involved in stealing Nigeria's oil. Now, there is another dimension to oil theft and beyond breaking into pipelines. We're talking about what happens at the export terminals, where they actually take more oil than what they record, and then they take it into the high sea, and then they discharge it into other ships, and then before they export. So all of those forms of oil theft actually may not necessarily involve the military alone, because it also involves much more than that. Officers of NIMASA, NNPC, Customs, who are Ministry of Petroleum, a host of them at that port, at that terminal. So oil theft cannot necessarily be, limited to the military, but they play a pivotal role, and the allegation is not coming as news from Asari Dokubo. Rather, it came first from Wike, and then with a number of persons who are there, who are in the streets of Port Harcourt, who can tell you, name names, and can tell you those involved in oil bunkering and have settled military officers in the Niger Delta.
Frank Tete, I don't know. I think we'll just have to, give the Nigerian military a right of reply, and you're expecting that the director Defense Information or the director Nigerian Army.
I think the earlier response of the Chief of Defense Staff is more tenable, acknowledging that there are bad eggs in the military, and indeed it's so, because when top military officers in Abuja who actually formulate strategies and planning operations here are not directly involved in the creeks, what happens there? People, I mean, it's so easy to abuse the military force, and so there are indeed elements, bad eggs in the military, who have connived with those gangs that Wike once referred to and that are sabotaging this country. You see, Asari Dokubo's visit to the president is significant. The president doesn't have time to waste, and that he has realized that it is more important that those persons who can actually offer more practical solutions in the protection of Nigeria's crude oil should be engaged, rather than a military that can be easily compromised. And it's some kind of serious house cleaning should be done in the military. And I think that kind of thing is what is more acceptable than a blanket denial by the Nigerian military.
I think you've used very strong words there, and let's just quickly say Arise News will be open to having the top brass of the Nigerian military from the Defense Information, Nigerian Army Information Department, and Nigerian Navy or Air Force to come with a right of reply to some of the issues raised by Asari Dokubo and the allegations in the air. Outgone Governor Nyesom Wike and the rest. I mean, they can always respond to it. But thanks very much, Frank Tietie, Arise analyst.